Hello, and welcome back to Futuretoons, where we explore the intersection of retrofuturism and animation by looking at past depictions of the future seen in cartoons. A year or so ago, we had an episode that was an overview of futuristic anime. Now, obviously, it is impossible to include everything, given how many anime take place in futuristic or cyberpunk settings, but we did cover a good mix of well-known your Akiras and Bubblegum Crises, and some more obscure titles like Future Boy Conan. Today, we are continuing this trend by looking at iconic and lesser-known works from the godfather manga, Osamu Tezuka. Like most episodes, the distinction between science fiction and retrofuturism is going to be blurred here. The way I always handle this is basically all depictions of the future are fiction, and retrofuturism says more about the world of yesterday than it does about the world of tomorrow. I also realize not all of you are into anime, and may not understand the significance of Tezuka. So as a very quick summary, Osamu Tezuka is like Walt Disney. There was Japanese animation and sequential art before him, but everything was different after. Manga and anime as we today know it starts with Tezuka's Astro Boy, or Mighty Atom. Now, I don't want to spend a ton of time here, but I do think it is important, not only for the aesthetics and art style it established, but also the themes it introduced, which we will be seeing again. Astro Boy the manga was first published in 1952, running through 1968. There have been multiple anime adaptations, the most famous of which was the first from 1963. This is the one I'm sure most are familiar with, due to its popularity both in Japan and abroad. Astro Boy takes place in 2003 in the manga, and 2013 in the anime, which we're going to be looking at the first episode of. The story opens with a real boy, Astro Boynton, driving his car on Electric Highway 66, said to be the safest road in existence. It's more or less an automated road where drivers merely have to press a button to travel. Again, safe, convenient. However, Astro dies in a freak accident, which is very upsetting. His father, who is head of the Ministry of Science, decides to create a robot version of his son, and Astro Boy is born. After a sort of Pinocchio-like period of discovery, Astro's father realizes that his creation will not age like other children and sells his robot son to a circus. Here, Astro is forced to fight larger robots for people's entertainment. Due to his erratic behavior, Astro's father is fired from the Ministry of Science and is replaced by Dr. Elephant, who is more compassionate towards robots and AI. Elephant seeks out Astro Boy at the circus, which sets on fire during a performance. Astro and the other robots have to save the human audience, and the episode ends with a news report announcing the passing of the Robot Bill of Rights and the end of robot servitude. So this touches on a lot. Roboethics, which we started a series on before the pandemic. Maybe we will revisit it someday. But there we looked at how AI has become ingrained in our lives. As technology develops and robots get tasked with more quote-unquote emotional responsibilities, different moral issues arise. You know, what is being lost in delegating these roles to non-humans? Is it right to trust something like someone's health and mental well-being to a machine? Can that machine handle those responsibilities? And who's profiting? In Astro Boy, we get a cavalcade of interesting robot designs, all of which are programmed to serve or entertain. They are treated awful by their owner. There is also, I think at least, an underlying distrust of technology, especially automation, Astro dying on the safest highway. The fact Tezuka recognized these concerns when he did, and explored these ideas in what is ostensibly a children's cartoon, is pretty amazing. Something we did not get over here in North America, and is virtually lost to time, is Galaxy Boy Troop, also from 1963. Apparently, Tezuka was extremely unhappy with the series and ordered all copies destroyed. As far as I found, only one episode still exists in whole, episode 67, so there is not a lot to go off of, but I do want to cover it, if only for its obscurity. What we are seeing here seems to be from the French broadcast, given the hard subs. It only aired in Japan and France, so maybe that's why this survived. Galaxy Boy Troop is the happiest or most stable future we are going to be looking at today, at least on Earth. It takes place in the 21st century, where humanity is comfortable, at peace with one another, and so they set out to reach other worlds. It is a traditional / puppet animation hybrid. Marionettes are used similar to Thunderbirds, which kind of gives a cool effect when mixing with the traditional animation. The aesthetics are definitely the most interesting thing about Galaxy Boy Troop. Beyond what I've already said, there really aren't any explicit future predictions, just pretty generic sci-fi fare. Jumping ahead to 1980, we have Phoenix 2772, or the title I prefer, Space Firebird 2772. This was based on Tezuka's Phoenix series, a manga that spans future, present, and past, with 12 self-contained stories written between 1954 and 1988. Each story dealt with reincarnation, hence the Phoenix. This film adaptation takes place in the distant future, where Earth's resources have been depleted. The only hope of reviving the planet lies in the blood of a mythical creature, a phoenix, and mankind sets out to capture it. In this future, humans are less grown as they are manufactured. All life begins in test tubes, occupation is assigned to you by a computer, and you are raised under constant surveillance. I love the future of video games this shows. Sprites come out of the screen at you. The main character, Godo, is raised by a female-presenting robot that he has control over, which gives us a couple of awkward scenes. At one point, she makes a pass at him. It is a cold and cruel future. There is a rigid hierarchy, and dating outside of your class can lead, at least the member of the lower class, straight to a work camp that is attempting to solve Earth's stability issues, but is really only exacerbating them. In terms of architecture and vehicles, pretty standard stuff, actually across the board. So far has been pretty conventional. Domes, fins, flying cars, nothing really spectacular, but there is a super cute server robot. I love this. The last film we are going to be looking at is Metropolis, based on the 1949 manga of the same name, which is unrelated to Fritz Lang's film of the same name, which we covered on a recent episode of Feature Film over on Patreon. Support us if you can. Tezuka did apparently take some inspiration from Lang's Metropolis, despite having never seen it. He was exposed to ideas and aesthetics from it through an article he saw in a magazine. The 1927 film would more directly inspire the film adaptation, which came out in 2001, 12 years after Tezuka's death. You could consider this the anime equivalent of a rock supergroup, given the talent involved. The source material, obviously written by Tezuka, was adapted by Katsuhiro Otomo, creator of Akira. It was produced by Madhouse and was directed by Rintaro, who actually worked with Tezuka as a director on Astro Boy. He also directed the film adaptation of Galaxy Express 39, which you could classify as Retrofuturism. At its core, Metropolis is a story about class. Like Fritz Lang's version, society is divided, literally, into 3 levels or zones. Above ground, in a city, live the wealthy humans, served by robots, in a city hailed as the world leader in industry, economics, and culture. This is something broadcast repeatedly over speakers. Below ground, in Zone 1, are the poor and unemployed humans who resent robots as they believe they took their jobs. Misplaced anger, the rich gave their jobs away. Like in Astro Boy, AI and robot rights are major themes here. We get tons of unique robot designs. Different robots serve different purposes. There are some that are purely service robots, industrial robots, as well as advanced humanoid AI. A major plot point deals with combining human organs with robots, so kind of transhumanism. Robots don't have real names. They are designated by number, as it is believed names infringe on the rights of humans. They live in Zone 2 and are still lower on the social ladder than the destitute humans who inhabit Zone 1. Older robots are relegated to Zone 3. Aesthetically, this film looks great. It is a combination of traditional animation and CGI. Around the time the film was produced, CGI was thought of as the future and was used to symbolize the future. This animation is still beautiful today. Perhaps because of its relation to Fritz Lang's Metropolis, it draws a lot of inspiration from the early 20th century, America, the Jazz Age. As excessive and lavish as Lang's film was, it was still limited by the production constraints of the time. The fact that this film is animated allowed the producers to create a more immersive and fleshed out world, from the architecture, kind of Art Deco, above and below ground, to the citizens just living their lives. It feels lived in. And that's about it for Metropolis. I am no expert, and this was not meant to be exhaustive, so if I missed anything, feel free to correct or comment down below. I will post links to relevant material in the description if you want to check it out. Let me know what you think. We are entirely supported by our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/pixandportraits. Content will be made regardless of if it's profitable or even watched. But if you like what we do and want to see more, please consider becoming a patron. It's a whole other world over there. In exchange for just $5 a month, you get access to dozens of exclusive videos and series like Future Film, which is like this, but for movies, as well as Century of Schlock, looking at 100 years of adult animation. Yaratsugu Doji was covered as part of that. So again, if you have the means, please consider supporting us. Patreon.com/pixandportraits. As always, thank you so much for your interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. See you in the future.